Welcome to the Omziel Healing Sanctuary. We're here giving you bite-sized information for you to take in with your daily life and use. I'm here with a great friend as always, and actually a pillar to the community. So I'll just allow him to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he does.
Hey guys, my name is Johnny Restrepo. I am the founder of CrossFit ECF here in West New York. We opened in 2012. We are located at 65th Street in West New York. And we're here for our community and for you guys, in which we try to just change our lives.
And I see that you guys are doing a lot of that, right? Because I had the wonderful opportunity to work with you on, was it the Skyline?
Yeah. Actually, I have the shirt.
Right, the Skyline Throwdown,
Yes,
right?
Skyline
That was
Throwdown.
Wonderful. And I came with the buckets and the water and the ice, and I was just waiting, like, when are they coming? And then I got flooded with all these people, got into the ice, and all the stories that I hear about how the gym changed their lives, and just the lifestyle that they live is just so much better and richer. So, you know, when I say that you're a pillar to the community, I mean that, man. I can see what you're doing there. You know, you're not selling like sneakers and belts, you know,
Right.
You're there dealing with people on deep levels, you know. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how do things work there, and the people that come through, and maybe some of the stories.
Well, our ECF story is actually a little crazy. So you don't even know this, but I grew up on the building next door to our gym. So I grew up on 65th Street and Dewey Avenue. The hydrant right in front of the gym where we opened, you know, we used to open it in the summertime and play, right? Because that's the old school way, open the hydrant and that's your pool when you live in the area which we live in. I was living in Florida, and unfortunately I had a death in my family. My brother was serving and he ended up passing. So I ended up relocating back from Florida back to New Jersey, and my parents live 3 blocks over from where we are now. And so after my brother passed in 2010, I found myself in a really bad place where I gained a ton of weight, right? I gained about 75 pounds. So I was a big, heavy boy, and I did that in about 10 months, right? I had found CrossFit back in Florida. And, you know, Florida, it's a place where people live on the beach. Health and fitness is everywhere. So you see it everywhere. Here in New Jersey, CrossFit didn't exist back when I decided to move back. So not only was I in a bad place where I gained a ton of weight, but as I found myself probably at the lowest someone can find themselves, you know, you struggle through, you know, family, relationship, and of course, losing a younger brother. All of that hit really hard. And so having come back to New Jersey, I found myself wanting to get back into a health and fitness place. And it wasn't even my idea to actually open ECF. It was a friend of mine who was a neighbor to my parents. He was a sergeant in town. And one day coming out of the house, Mike approached me and said, "Hey, Johnny, sorry to hear about your brother." And I said, "It's all right. It's life. You know, we're trying to move on from it." He's like, "Well, what are you doing with yourself?" And I said, "Well, I'm actually trying to join a CrossFit gym." And I tried explaining what CrossFit was, because back in 2011, it wasn't existent up here yet. And so in our 20-minute conversation, I tried giving them the high level of what we did, which was, you know, this gym where you go work out really hard, but you have this community that backs you, that pushes you, that, you know, that motivates you to get healthier. And Mike understood as, oh, it's a gym, awesome, you can lose weight and get back to being strong. And I said, okay. Like 2 months later, Mike, Sergeant in Guttenberg, reaches out to me and says, "Hey, Johnny, come. I want you to come over to the police department. I want to show you something." And so I stopped in, and he's like, "Let's go check out the studio." And I said, "Okay." And so we go over. We see the studio. We used to be on 69th Street for the first year of our gym. So we went there. We look at the studio, and I said, "This is cool. What's this for?" He's like, "That CrossFit thing that, you know, you mentioned like 2 months ago outside my parents' house." I'm like, he's like, "I'm about to retire, and I think we should partner up and do this together." And I said, "You sure, Mike?" And he has a check in hand for 10 grand. And he hands me this check, and he says, "Let's lease this studio and see what happens." I said, "Okay." And that was actually the start of ECF. I'm a ex-IT project manager, so I was working corporate for 15 years. And so we started building out the studio, and we officially opened our doors May 1st of 2012. Quick story. Like 2 weeks later, Mike shows up because now we're spent about the last month and a half getting the studio ready. But not only that, I was kicking his butt working out. We were working out 2 hours a day. I told him he couldn't drink anymore or as much. He had to eat healthier because I need him to lose like 100 pounds, right? To look like a CrossFit coach,
exactly, right?
And so 2 weeks after we opened the doors, Mike walks in and he's like, listen, Johnny, I love you. He's like, when you said CrossFit gym, I thought a gym put a bunch of machines in it. And that's the complete opposite of what we do. We are not a CrossFit gym. We don't have a bunch of machines where you can not ever show up to the gym. You just pay a gym membership and never come. That's not what we're about, right? We are about, you're going to come in. You're going to have a dedicated team of coaches who are going to be interested in what your goals are and actually achieving those goals, right? And so that's the difference between what we do in a CrossFit facility and what global gyms do, right? Global gyms make money on the fact that 90% of their memberships never actually come inside the building, right? Where in CrossFit,
in January.
Right. So January, you get an influx of 500 memberships and you get maybe 10 to 20 people out of those 500 show up and maybe consider taking their resolution serious. No, what we do is we bring you into our gym and we have a class where you're led by a professional CrossFit coach, and we're going to push you to your limits, right? We're going to push you outside of your comfort zone, right? To get to the reason why you walked in the door in the first place, right? And that's the difference of what we do. You don't show up into our gym within 3 to 5 days. Our office is calling you saying, hey, Omar, what's going on? We haven't seen you this week, right? Why didn't you come in? And so we call people out every single day because you told us what you wanted and we want to actually make it to where you want to see yourself. And that's what we do at ECF.
Right. So, and a large part of that seems like that mindset, you know, because it's always the mind, because the body will follow if you can get the mind right. And we're big on that here at Omziel. That's why we do the breath work, which is difficult in itself, let me tell you. And then there's the ice for 2 minutes. And it's incredibly difficult. You see guys come in here all brolic and everything. Come on, man. And they get into that. They're like, 20 seconds, bro. They don't even last. You know? But it's just the mind. Like they talk themselves out of it. You know? So perhaps you can tell us a little bit about perhaps a story that you know of someone where you've changed their lives deeply and also perhaps change how you do things at ECF too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, 2 specific individuals come to mind. One of our favorites is we have an individual, Saber, who had a stroke about 5-7 years ago. I can't remember exactly how long ago. But he had gone through therapy. He had gone through a bunch of different programs that the insurance recommended, and none of it seemed to work. It seems like, not to knock on physical therapists and what they're doing, but when your heart is not into really helping someone, it's just about the bottom line, and it's like it's a financial transaction. You're never going to get the same results. Where if your heart's in it and you actually see the person for who they are and what they're struggling with, and want to help find a solution for it, I think that's the difference, right? And so Saber had gone through, 5-6 years of physical therapist because of his stroke, in a wheelchair for that amount of time. He came in through our doors and his son just happened to be passing by our gym and realized we were a gym, walked in and said, this is my dad's story. This is what we've been dealing with for the last X amount of years. He said, do you think you guys can help us? And Jess and I are all about making the most impossible situations possible. And so we brought him in through our doors. And after 5-7 years of him having been in a wheelchair going through therapy that seemed to bring no results, we got him to start taking his first steps. We've gotten him to be able to walk, assisted still with a walker. But he's achieved over the last 1.5 years that he's been with us now, things that he was never able to achieve in 5 to 7 years, right? Wow. And so it's very motivational when you see someone like that, and he trains with us 9 to 10 every day. So he's in the middle of training while we're running our 9 a.m. class. And it's been interesting to see people taking class who are afraid of coming into our gym, but then they see someone like Saber, right?
Right.
achieving milestones of being able to lift his foot off the floor.
Things
right?
we take for granted.
Like things we take for granted, being able to hold something with both of his hands, right? Being able to almost get himself out of a seated position into a standing position. We actually celebrated, I think a year into it, where we had him standing on his own, and his wife always brings him in, into their gym with their nurse, and we actually had him dance for the first time with her.
Oh my
so he was standing, and we
That
had
is
his
so
wife
emotional,
come up to him, and we play, and he loves music. So every time we blare the music, you can see that it awakens him.
Right.
And so not only do we awaken him through physical and weight training, but also through music. And the fact that we were able to get him to dance, with his wife was actually quite a touching story for us.
Amazing.
And so for us, Saber is one of our biggest heroes in the gym. And we've had a couple of stories on our social media about him.
Right.
And it literally gets like the most hits and the most likes, because it really gets people to understand how not bad our situations are in comparison to a lot of other people in this world that are struggling with bigger things.
In addition to that, how about the misconception, right? Because we spoke about that. People think like, oh, I'll just go to the gym and I'll get a six-pack. But it's more than that. That's like the byproduct, of that. So tell me a little bit about the misconception that you notice that people come in with and then change over time.
Right. So our misconception is that we are an actual sport, right? So CrossFit is an actual sport. And what people are seeing are the 0.01% of super elite athletes that are doing some amazing things when it comes to physical fitness, strength, speed, endurance, all of those things. The reality is that inside of CrossFit gyms, that is not the norm, right? Like we have our first games potential athlete since we've been open. So it's been 12 years and we've just come across one person that can potentially be that, okay? For everyone else, we just want to bring health and fitness to our community. And what we mean by that is not the six-pack shredded, like that's not what we're after. What we're after is, and the reason why when we initially started in Guttenberg and moved 3 blocks over now to West New York, is the fact that I wanted to keep the gym inside the community of West New York, Guttenberg, and our surrounding neighborhood. And the reason why is because we're a Hispanic Latino, although the demographic has been changing over the last 5 years. When we started, we were a 90% Hispanic Latino, all right? And what do Hispanic Latinos know about gyms? Nothing, because we actually were never, we know how to eat, we know how to make the best food.
Music,
But in our culture, it was never to exercise, to control how big our plate is, right? And that's really what I saw the future of ECF being. It was bringing something to our community that was something that no one had ever done. And so what has been our success? Our success in our members has been the individuals who started with us, who 6 months later came in and said, hey, I went and got a checkup and my doctor's astonished at where my numbers are. And I've been taking off high blood pressure medication. I have been taking off, diabetes, possibly, right? So there's so many people, right? We're the fastest diabetic country in the world, right? As far as, and our youth are becoming even younger and younger and are now susceptible to being, to being diabetics. So now we're attacking not the six packs. We're not after six packs. We're after our members bringing in their kids, right? So they can showcase that, hey, I'm dad working out, and your 5-year-old, 6-year-old, whatever year old is hanging out in our gym because we allow everyone to bring. You can bring your entire family into our facility, right? We have our members that bring their dogs, their kids, like everybody, right? And so we want to see, because when we see, we're inspired, right? And so now we see kids seeing their parents work out, and then you see this 5-year-old, 4-year-old in a corner mimicking the burpees that the class is doing, right? That's going to teach a different culture because we did not know that. I myself was fortunate enough that my dad's been working out his entire life. He's 62 at this point and has a six-pack, right? And so my health and fitness and, in sport has come because I saw that to be my example. That is not the case for the majority of our community in our neighborhood, right? So we're trying to change where we want people to come in and not get a six-pack, but learn that we want to stay off medication. We want to stay off all of these pills, right? Which are the easy route, because at the same time, when you come in and you take one of our free classes, we're going to kick your butt because we're not going to fake it. We're not going to pretend like, hey, this is a easy.
Soft, come on.
No, it's not. We want you to be proud that you came in and worked really hard for an hour, and you're going to be super sore for the next 3 days. But that's going to give you this level of satisfaction of like, wow, I actually feel like I worked, like I accomplished something, which brings pride, which brings wanting more out of it or not, right? Because we've had the members who are just like, you guys are a little intense, and all that's telling us is that you really haven't dug deep inside of yourself to realize that you're serious about your results. Because when you come in through our doors, we ask you, we're like, what do you want? Why are you here? And there's always real stories. There's the, I'm severely overweight, I need to lose weight. Awesome. We just want you to be able to walk without being winded.
Right.
We want you to be able to go up and down your stairs without feeling like you're going to have a heart attack, right? We want you to be able to play with your kids. This is my biggest selling point as a parent, right? I have 2 daughters, and I'm in my 40s now, and we look at 30-year-old parents and 40-year-old parents that are so severely out of shape and deconditioned that they just have no energy or motivation to just play with their kids, right? So now we have these new families coming in, right? Getting married, wanting to have kids. Why would you want to have a kid when you're going to have zero energy to spend any quality time with them, right?
Right.
And then the problem grows because now you have no energy to go to the park and play with your kid. And at the same time, when you're not doing that, all you're doing is you're taking your kid, sitting them next to you, and now you're plugging them in, saying, here's a tablet, and just play with this tablet for the next 7 hours.
Right.
What is happening to these kids, right? Come on, we're not so young anymore, right?
Right.
What did we do as kids?
Right.
We went outside. We played, right?
Oh
our
my
punishment,
God.
what was our punishment?
Yeah, go outside.
No, that's your punishment now.
Yeah.
Our punishment back then was you weren't allowed to go outside, right? We got punished, and your mom was like, you're not going out this weekend, and you're not going to go hang out with your kids, right?
Absolutely right.
Which meant we weren't outside playing sports, playing stickball, playing wiffle ball, playing all the crazy, tag, right? Tag, manhunt. Like, if there's kids watching this, they've never even heard of these names.
No, I talk to them and they go, what's that?
Like, what the hell is that, right? So that was our punishment, was being kept inside. What is the punishment to kids now? Tell a kid to go outside for 5 seconds and get some sun, and maybe call their buddy and go ride a bike outside.
Buddies, bro.
They don't understand that, and so that's the crisis we're facing right now.
That's beautiful.
Is we are facing the crisis of our youth are becoming so immobile and so plugged into social media that it's now we're not active, which means if we're not active, we are not moving. If we're not moving, we're not burning calories. If we're not burning calories, we're gaining weight. And what are we doing when we're sitting for hours and hours? We're snacking. Right. You put all this together, and it's an epidemic that a lot of people are not realizing. It's already here. It's coming, and it's only going to get progressively worse. So
I see it. It's like at the forefront now too, because I used to be one of those Latino men. Oh, pernil and all that, and pasteles, and keep it on the regular, But then, as I got older, I started seeing things were not how they were supposed to be. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel good about myself. And then my old man was always into sports too. Right. Like he wasn't the kind of guy who sat at the sofa and said, honey, give me another beer. He wasn't like that.
Right.
We didn't watch sports. We played sports.
Right.
We were always outside. So like, you speak about that, like getting them when they're young and the youth, that stays in your mind somewhere, bro. And you can see that when you start doing other behaviors, at the end of the day, you're like, I'm just not happy.
Yeah.
So I just started to make, better choices, change my eating habits a little bit, and then exercising. And then I start to see how far could I go.
Right.
And then I started running even more, and then lifting even more. And like, I go to the park now and all the parents are sitting down, bro.
Yep.
I'm with the kids, bro. All the kids, playing.
And it's like you said, right? It's like your dad was a very active person, and although you weren't in your youth, right? Your dad still planted that seed, right? So, and often people think that like, oh, even if I took my kid one day, it's not going to matter. It is going to matter because it's all about planting a seed that's going to bring fruit way later in your future, in your life, right? Like you weren't that kid active in your youth, but here you are, right? You're Omar now doing what you're doing because you have those backstories of your dad and how active he was, right? And so now you're associating yourself to, oh, I'm a dad now, right? And now you have two kids.
Right.
And now you want to be that example so your kids can see, right? So you're almost a mirror image of your dad when he was your age, being a parent to you, right? And now it's come full circle, right? And that's what we got to get out there. We got to get out there to these parents that you have to be the example, because if you're not, we are heading in to a really bad place as a society. And you know, we're in America, right? And we are the fastest growing problem, right? And so we have to try and curve it. And that's our mission as CrossFit, is we want to bring health and fitness and change. We're not trying to bring six packs and you're going to the CrossFit games. We're not. We're trying to bring eat clean. You can still have your pasteles and your pernil on Saturdays.
Right.
Listen, because
no, we ain't stopping that.
You can never stop that, or we're gonna have an even bigger issue, right? Trying to tell your abuela or your mom or your anyone that you're just not gonna have pernil. Right. But everything comes in moderation. Everything has to be controlled. It has to be the exception, not the norm, right? Monday through Friday, let's eat healthier. Let's drink a ton of water, right? And so people also associate like health to like very expensive, you know, to about high level cost. It's not, right? People don't realize water's free. Right? Get a filter, get a Brita, and drink water all day, right? But people associate, oh, if I'm going to exercise, I'm going to have a gym membership, and that's going to cost me money, or I'm going to have to go to CrossFit and pay for that, or I'm going to go jump into an ice tub, and that's going to cost me money. People associate expenses to things that are good for us, right? But no one associates how much liters of soda cost. No one associates, you know, going to eat out all the time. What the cost around that is.
Exactly.
No one associates
Starbucks,
how
$5 coffee.
Right, a $5-6 per day coffee.
Yeah, man.
Like the amount, we've done the math on like what it costs you in a month to drink, you know, a Starbucks every single day. Every single day, people go to Starbucks and get their 20-ounce sugary whatever drinks, and they don't bat an eye. But tell them, hey, go drop $50 on the class, go drop $100, $200 on the gym membership.
No, I don't got it.
And they're like, no, I don't have money for that. And so you're just like,
we've done the math too, and we've seen that it's a down payment on a house in 1 year, bro. That's insane, bro. I don't see how people are smoking cigarettes. But tell me a little bit about some of the success stories that you have there too, because I'm looking at the feed and I'm seeing this before and afters. Like, wow, just incredible, man.
Well, yeah, transformations motivate and results. One of our biggest, literally examples is we have a gentleman, and I won't say his name, but he actually has MS. Right. And so MS for a lot of people is a muscular disease, at which point you don't know when it's going to put you in your bed and you may never be able to move or walk again. Right. And so we have this individual who started with us and since has lost over 100 pounds.
Wow.
He is the healthiest and the fittest he's ever been.
Oh my goodness.
Right. But what people don't see is the fact that he actually struggles with this unfortunate disability disease, right? And so for me, that's like such an example of you never really know what's going on. All you see is how hard this guy works. And if you amplify that by the disability of MS, think about that. That's now exponentially more impressive because this person understands that this has helped them not just lose a ton of weight, but we've been able to keep the amount of medicine that he has to take on a daily basis to keep his MS under control, right? And there's bad days. There's no one more than this person who I guarantee, he's been with us for, I want to say, over 2 years now, who probably in the last 2 years, every other month, has just wanted to throw in the towel and said, you know what, I'm tired. Why? Because we've had flare-ups. We've had, you know, tweaked injuries and this and that, and there's setbacks, right? We've been wanting to do a comp for a very long time, and every time we think we're ready for that comp, something else sets us back and something else. Yet this person continues to push forward no matter what, right? And so then we go into the doctor checkups where they're like, well, we're going to try these new medicines, and it's been his decision that his medicine is to continue to train, has been continue to hydrate, zero alcohol, right? Proper nutrition, you know, as much rest as possible. That is his medicine to try and combat this MS thing that he's been having for quite a long time. We do not know what the end result's going to be, if it's ever going to get to the level of what, unfortunately, individuals with MS have to deal with, right? On the back end of the disability and the disease.
Right.
But all we can do is every day continue to just fight. Fight with health, fight with fitness, fight with training, fight with nutrition, and say, hey, medicine, we're going to put you on the back burner and we're going to take this route because it's such an unknown route. And even his doctors are like, when he goes and sees them, they're like, well, we're kind of seeing that, you know, there's lesions that unfortunately they develop in the brain. This lesion seems like it's a little bigger, but you seem to be healthier, more energetic, you're moving better, right? So what do we want to tackle? Do we want to tackle, right? Like, do we want to worry about, hey, is this thing gonna like keep me from living? Or are we gonna say, look, you know what? If we're gonna have the next best 10 years of your life, whatever this brings in 10 years from now, we're gonna tackle that at that point. But for now, let's have quality of life, right? And that's where we are. And so for him, we focus on the every day, make it a good day. Every day we can lift, we lift. There's days that we can't, we don't, we stretch, right? But we're making every day count. And who knows, we may get to 20 years from now, 30 years down the line and be like, so we've been battling MS for 30 years now, and we've actually kept this thing at bay, right? So, but again, this is a case study that no one knows, because right now, doctors don't know how to tackle this thing except with medicine.
Right.
Take medicine.
It's called it's an autonomic, right? It's your system is not responding the way it is, which they say that's code word for we don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, right. And you know, we look at doctors as like these. They're very knowledgeable, smart individuals, but unfortunately, we haven't researched or searched every option. Right here, we tackle any disability with medicine. That's just the American way.
The pharma.
That is just pharma, right? The United States is a pharma driven in every way, shape, or form. Okay, pharma drives politicians, which make policies, which drives the insurance companies, which drives pump out more medicine, right? And so when that's what a country knows, that's what they're gonna act on, right? Here we are, right? The hippies, we're the hippies of like, let's try natural medicine, let's try health and exercise. So that's what we're after. You and I, which is why we see each other, we see so much eye to eye, because we're like, hey. And I talk to him about it all the time. Like, we have conversations where the doctor says, hey, I think you should be on this and this and this. And we have conversations about, well, how have we felt over the last month or since our last visit? Do we think that we're still healthy and strong? And if we're feeling that, I suggest, hey, let's keep doing this. But I also tell him, this is your decision. This is your decision to make. And he seems to still be he's still on our side because, again, of what his internal emotions are telling him, right? Because now there's a battle, right? There's his health coach and health and fitness coach saying, we're looking good, man. You're moving well. You're feeling good. We haven't had flare-ups, right? And now you have the doctor saying, medicine, 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 medicine. And so now the patient says, oh my God, what do I do? Do I go this way or do I go this way? I tell anyone who's dealing with anything, go with whatever's making you happy, feel good.
It's you.
Wake up every
day.
day.
That's the advice I give too. That's why people don't come to me for advice.
That's it,
them,
right?
What makes you happy, bro? Should I go left? Yeah. Or should I go right?
Sure. Right, because you know we want you to make your smart, educated decision.
Right.
But the system is trying to sway everything in one way because that's what pays the bills for the majority of what the system is developed.
It's true. So, you know, right now we are currently living through a revolution right now. We just don't know it. Like in another 20 years, we'll look back and go, I lived through that, bro. We was putting in the work, you know, helping people, trying to get them off the couch and like go outside and do something. But your story and your life, wow, it's a long one and so fascinating. How about when you think about your 18-year-old self, you know, when you look at him now, where you're sitting, what would you tell him?
Okay. I've always wondered about that. A short answer is, save more money and invest more, right? I worked corporate for 15 years and I retired out of corporate at 34. And it's weird because at 20, you know, you mentioned 18, but at 21, as I went into the workforce, I just had this thing in the back of my head that said, I want you to retire before you're 35. And life would have it that I quit my corporate job at 34 and 8 months, which is, I still go back to that thought to this very day. But at 20, not 18, but at 21, I said, you know, I want you to go do something for yourself. And so, you know, when you're in the corporate world, you're wearing a suit and, you know, trying to make money. But in my 20s, you spend all your money. 20-year-olds are not smart. Why? Because we're not educated here. Our system doesn't educate us to invest. We are a system or a society of individuals who are taught to consume. We're a consuming country, right? And so for what I would say to myself is consume less, invest more, right? But also help more people, right? And that's why I take pride and joy in what I do now, because I really love to help people. I love to be able to be the difference and someone being able to get somewhere, or someone who doesn't have something being able to just provide it. You know, like we have a lot of members in our gym who financially cannot afford our services. And so when we see that the drive and desire is there, those people come to our business for free, like free of charge, right? So if your right intentions are to help individuals, I think we need to take the financial aspect out of it and try to help in every way possible that we can. And so that's what I've learned since the whole fitness switch from corporate to fitness. It's a service. It's a service. It's a service. For sure. It's serve more. And we're in a place that we do need to serve our communities more, the people around us, and also keep eyes open, because I think with the way the social media has made our society now, so many people are in need of help and support. And a lot of us are so consumed in our everyday life that we tend to miss the cries of help from so many people around us. You could throw a rock at somebody who needs help around here, bro. Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't be hard to find. Absolutely. So for me, is be less selfish in the financial aspect and try to help more. Because it's brought joy to my life since the switch. But imagine if I would have been doing it since I was 20 years old, right? I could have, you could have helped so many more people. Oh, for sure. Definitely could have helped so many more people. You read books about being super successful, and they always say like just a handful of things. And one of them always is serve people. Just serve them. They know when you're treating them right or treating them like garbage. Don't catch on to that. Trust. And if all the success, Tony Robbins and all of these guys, they literally, these guys, as wealthy as they are, right? And we'll look at someone like Tony Robbins and people focus on, oh my God, he's so rich. No one focuses on, oh my God, he's helped so many people. Like, he has one of the biggest programs in the world, right? To feed the hungry, right? Like everything he does, a portion of it goes, right? And he's trying to feed 100 million people, or, I forget what his new number is, but so why is he so wealthy and why is he such a known person? People think it's because of the financial aspect of it. It's not. It's because he's really put himself in a position where he truly wants to help people, not pretend like he's helping people. And I think that's where, if you can make that change, that switch, money's going to become irrelevant. Like it's not even going to be a thing that you concern yourself with. It'll continue to flow to you. Like if your heart is in the right place, you will be... Where there is monetary wealthy, you're definitely going to be wealthy in how you feel in your heart. You're going to be rich in how you feel in your heart. Yes, I totally agree. You stop caring so much about the materialistic things that are all around us, and you start to really simplify your life. Like I just recently, my 16-year-old truck died, and I was so upset because I love my old truck. Like I'm not about a fancy car, right? Go get the new one. In my 20s, I drove the Beamers and the Mercedeses and all of those luxury crazy cars, right? Now I'm upset that my 20-year-old truck died and I want my old truck back, right? I'm not about luxury anymore. I get high on, helping someone that came in the gym, you know, and being able to get them to work out and get to a better place, whether, you know, they make pain or not pain, right? So that's what we're about now. So
that's beautiful.
So that's what I enjoy.
I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for just doing what you do, helping so many people. And I'm looking forward to going back. I've been there a couple of times. I've taken some classes, just outstanding. Helped me like super, super, super helpful with my Spartan races. And then we did the ice plunge in that big street event. And we're looking forward to doing some more over there at the CrossFit ECF.
Yeah, us too. And I mean, our program is designed, like you said, Spartan races. Our program is designed, again, not to give you six-pack guys. Our program is designed to just have you be able to live a healthy, comfortable life in your everyday, right? Again, so if you guys are someone, if you're mentally or physically looking for help, that's something that our program does. Okay, take out the thought that we're gonna make you have giant biceps and six packs and all these things. That is not what we're after. We're about helping you live a healthy, comfortable life where you wake up every day and feel good about yourself, right? And about the people around you. So
that's great. Thank you so much, bro. You're a great guy. Anybody who knows you says the same thing. You're really nice, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate
Not the drill sergeant that they think you are.
You know what? It's that's the biggest thing with people and me. They perceive me as this tough, mean guy. But really what is when you've done something long enough, you know, you start to take it personal, and it's like I find myself caring more about what your goals are when you come in and tell me that.
Than you
and
are.
Really, what it comes down to is that I get upset when we've sat in our office and you've told me what you wanted, and then we give you 1,000% in trying to get you to the place you want to see yourself, and then when people kind of just give up on their dreams. For me, that's very upsetting. Like I just hate to see people just give up on,
especially when you know
when they have that ability
like
and
you got it.
Right.
Keep
so
going.
Yes, like, that's it. It's just
that
keep going.
To
and how often do people get to like that 99%? Right, where you're just about to be done or achieve that goal, and then they're just like, no, I'm gonna, and then you're like, what do you mean? No. So that's where where the drill sergeant comes in. A lot of people thought I'm ex-military. I'm not. I just want to push you. Because a lot of people are afraid to tell you how it really is, right? Everyone's very softy, touchy-feely about how people come across. I like to be upfront. Listen, this is what it is. This is what it's going to take. And it's not being mean and it's not being angry. It's just me telling you how it is so you know the reality of what's going to take for you to get to that place, right? Because it's rare that it's an easy road. It's usually a hard road, but with hard roads comes gratification for, man, I did that and I achieved that.
Like on the other side, we often tell people like the amount of strength and focus and discipline that you will need to achieve what is it that you want to do is astronomical. But you could do it.
You can do it. Anyone can do anything. My perception to life is that you ever see a juggler, right? What's the difference between that human body juggling and the fact that we can juggle? Is that person spent hundreds and thousands of hours juggling.
That's it.
Right? That's the only difference, right?
We tell them that in the Spartan Race, the only thing that separates me between that other guy is his training.
That's it.
That's all. He doesn't have no super, he's just training harder.
He's just he's dedicated that time to become an expert at that one thing, right? So that's how I always approach life. Like, you know, I'm a handy guy, and I built the bar in the gym and I built the bathrooms in the gym. Because my thing is like, man, like, you know, do it yourself, right? Like if I can pay someone to come do it, I find myself to be someone smart enough that I probably can pick up a book or watch a video. I mean, YouTube anything, right?
University.
You can YouTube University anything and become a master of whatever you want to do, right?
Exactly.
And so I'm not afraid to throw myself at a challenge because that's my perception is that if that guy up there is fixing that roof, if I do enough roofs, I'm going to get it right. The first couple of roofs might have a little leak in them, right? Because we're just learning. But if you do anything enough times, you will master it to the point where you can become good at it. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and master anything and everything that you want to challenge yourself with. So,
thank you, brother. Thank you. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much again, guys. Please stay tuned for the next one. Oh, where can we find you?
We are located in West New York on 65th Street and Dewey Avenue. We are between Hudson and Broadway. And the reason I say that is because no one in West New York knows where Dewey Avenue is.
Right.
But we're a we're a 3-street block between Hudson and Broadway. Everyone knows those streets. We've been around for 12 years. Definitely come by. We offer a free class for you guys just to check us out. So if you're interested, you can also call us at our office, 201-854-8585. But no one uses phones anymore. You can check out CrossFit ECF on Instagram. So.
CrossFit ECF on Instagram.
Yes.
Yep. Great feed, man. I love it. Thank you so much, brother.
Omar, thank you for having me.
There you go, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.